Members of the coalition claim the Defence Minister's apparent failure to formally meet his US counterpart reflects strains in the relationship. Let's go live to our political reporter Ruben Spargo. Hi there, Ruben. The government is maintaining that Richard Marles had senior access in the US.
Blay, that's right. Sky News understands that Richard Marles visited the United States to meet with his counterpart, J.D. Vance, the US Vice President. This bilateral meeting was locked in ahead of Richard Marles' travels earlier this week. The rest of the itinerary was added to, including bilateral meetings with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Deputy White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. The discussions likely centred on defence spending, with Richard Marles reassuring the Americans in response to their calls for an increase. The Deputy Prime Minister was also likely lining up a future meeting between the Prime Minister and President Donald Trump. Richard Marles was pictured with US Secretary of Defence Pete Hegseth. Those pictures you saw a little earlier. The Pentagon has told Nine that it was a happenstance encounter. Here was National Senator Bridget McKenzie's take.
Sidling up to Hegseth and getting the snap doesn't prove that he was able to have a deep engagement with someone who is incredibly important to the US-Australia relationship. And I think this is symptomatic of where this relationship's going under the Albanese government.
I think this is actually a good indication that it's a strong relationship. The fact that our Deputy Prime Minister can go and speak to both the Vice President, the Defence Secretary, it's an ongoing dialogue between our two nations.
Also today in Canberra, the Prime Minister has hastily reorganised a meeting with Usman Khawaja. The Australian cricketer only hours ago expressed his disappointment here in Parliament at it being cancelled. Here was Usman Khawaja earlier.
I was supposed to meet the Prime Minister after this meeting, but unfortunately that's been cancelled. I'm disappointed. I'm hoping it's just a scheduling conflict. I've sent him a text.
What could have made this potentially awkward was the Prime Minister only met with Pat Cummins, another Australian cricketer, the Test captain, on Monday. He's lobbying the Prime Minister for extra funding to help sporting clubs withstand the effects of climate change. Usman Khawaja happy about this reorganised meeting. Here was the cricketer a little later this morning.
Had a meeting with the Prime Minister. I don't want to go into detail. Spoke about some sensitive things, but I mean, for me always, and it's what I said to the Prime Minister, is I think Australia has a chance to be a leader, and this is what I said to the Prime Minister. I think he has a great opportunity to cement his legacy as one of the great leaders, to fight for humanity, to fight for what's right.
So Usman Khawaja lobbying the Australian government for tougher sanctions on Israel and the country's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. The meeting seemed lay that it wasn't going to happen, but it did in the end after a bit of confusion.
Yep, some scrambling in the background. Thanks so much for that, Ruben.